guys, Mo. It's gonna take you through the day I purchased all my tools. It's a good day, exciting day. But yeah, sit back and enjoy.
Like a demo on first, buddy.
Any. You take your pick.
Right, so what do you want to know?
What size is this one? Is this a
This is a 305.
305, yeah.
So pretty similar to the 250.
Yeah.
Obviously slightly smaller blade. Pretty much all similar functions. The only thing this one has got is this has what's called like regenerative braking, like Kerr's Formula One. When you let go of the trigger and it starts braking, it puts a little bit of charge back in it.
Okay,
so it gives you more charge. It's got bigger capacities, a few of the features, and slightly different positions on the saw, but pretty much the same. So they've designed this as being a good, what I call construction saw, so you can use it in kitchens as well as, but basically they've designed it worldwide for people out in minus 30 degrees when it's freezing cold, big set of gloves on, you don't want to be fiddly. So to change it, just literally squeeze that, and it's done. You've got presets of every angle, so like we've got 45 there, we've got 22.5 there, but if I want to set it in between something, there it is. But instead of it moving, we can just lock it so it's not going to move. That's easy enough to do. This is called the mitre fence, and this is called the bevel. So the bevel is just simply this big handle at the back, you twist it, over it goes, and it's as simple as that. This is dual bevel, it goes over to 90, and then you come up and stop. To move it over to the other side, you shift that to go over. When you come back, click, and it'll stop on 90. It should always stop to 90. There's bolts in there which will tell you the instructions. You can adjust it very slightly, so if after a couple of years it goes a little bit out of true, you can screw it back up.
Alright.
So that's all locked into place. So the handle here, we've got a lot of safety switch. You can't pull the trigger, safety switch. What you'll notice, we have got an LED light. The LED light goes over the blade, so if you change thickness of blade, it doesn't matter. It's a shadow line and tell you where it is.
Oh, beautiful.
If I put a thicker blade on there, the light will be thicker. Right? Not only that, is once we start getting into dim light in a couple of hours' time, it starts lighting up this, so it becomes much safer to use. Alright, so you're not out in the dark. Alright? So you can either set that by the trigger, or I can push the little button here just to switch it on to go, where am I cutting? Alright? It's a good safety feature. Okay. Other saws have lasers on them, so they can bounce out and readjust it. Alright? Easy peasy. It has what's called trenching facility on it, which means if I flick this down, I can stop the saw blade at any height I want. So when I cut through, I'm leaving that amount of material underneath. Okay? So I can unlock it, lift it up, twist it to lift it up, or move it down, just lock it in place. Easy. So take it off, lift it up, there we go. This round here on this one has been changed from a thin fabric to a heavy rubber, because when you've got a dust extraction that's sucking, and if you drop it down and it catches on a piece of wood, it can can get sucked up. This one here can't get sucked up, but if you catch it, it'll split that way, it'll split that way. It doesn't catch the blade, it's easy to take off. If you need to, we can put a new one on if you need to buy it as a spare part of it.
Alright, cool.
It's as easy as that. Again, nice thick gloves, middle of winter, you can do it all. These sides here move in and out. We've also got wires on them. Kieran, good to see you, mate.
Hey guys, take care.
See you later, bud. And you, bud. They've got wires on them. So if your apprentice drops it in the sawdust and you leave it on a job site, he cannot leave it anywhere. So it means you can't lose anything. That's quite expensive bits. You do have to move them out to cut miters, because the whole body needs to move through there. Other than that, in America they cut timber cornice that goes up in the corner of a room, we call it cove, and they call it crown moulding. When it gets really big, you can't cut it because the saw won't cut. So they cut it on the flat. To cut it on the flat, you have to do a compound angle. And a spring angle can either be 45 degrees, 52 degrees, or 38 degrees. They're the most common spring angles. So you'll have to go and read the instructions, but they've got these little, see these markings here?
Yes.
So all you do is if I line it up with this one here, which says 31.6, and lock it down, because it's that colour, the half moon, if I go over to the half moon and put it there, that's what.
That's your angle for the.
That's my perfect compound angle to cut it flat. So when I bring it up, it cuts a perfect 45. So they're all in the instructions. And the instructions are in the bin under 7T bag because that's supposed to take it. Right?
He doesn't, no.
No one reads instructions.
That's why I'm going through it, and you suddenly got all.
That's quite good.
Of the saw. It's also very basic on the bevel. Because when I want to go over to 45, I turn it over to 45 instead it's 45. But here, we've got two little blocks. One that says 22.5 and one says 30. If I push the block down, it'll automatically stop it at 22.5. Right? If it's slightly inaccurate, again, we can move these bolts just to trim it all up. It should be accurate out of the box. Other than that, that's pretty much how it works. You have this little, on this particular saw, this little piece here, that if I spin it round like that and lock it into there, that locks it into the perfect chopping position. So the blade just goes through to give you maximum height here to be cutting 6.5 inch skirt. Okay, it won't move. Okay. Equally, if I spin it round to there and put it that way, and lock this down, that's the optimum position. When I put this, put the saw in the middle for the balance to lift it to carry it. Okay. And then it's on a locking pin. If this lock here comes, you don't want to pick up the saw on the carriage side and smash your fingers. So that's a bit of a safety thing as well. Right. It has something on there called WTC, which is called wireless tool control. So if I switch this on, the dust extraction hasn't come on. And what I can do with this is turn around and turn to the dust extractor, put it into connect mode. It's go, right, I'm getting ready for another tool to talk to you. It talks, and it'll switch off, and then I'll switch it on, it comes on. Instead of going, if you're doing 1,000 cuts a week on a saw, it's 2,000 times you touch a hoover. 2,000 times, up and down, up and down, up and down is wasted money, that's wasted profit. And as I explained profit to my wife, it's shoes. She gets it then, she gets it, profit of shoes, right? So have a bit of joking about it. So you've got your full dust extraction on it. Dust extraction on it is pretty good. They're notoriously bad, these type of saws. I don't get it because there's so much wind and everything else. But equally, how you cut with the saw will depend how it is. If we're cutting out here, come on. If I'm cutting out here and I decide to chop down, and the teeth are chopping down, okay? And as I go backwards, the teeth are throwing it up. That's the best way of doing it, because then the teeth are firing it straight up there. If I decide to chop down here, as I cut down, and the teeth are chopping down, so what they do is it shoves the sawdust out the back and out here. Depending which way you cut, if I do this, we've got pretty nasty timber, not the best blade on it, it's all bent, but as you can see, if you feel that, it's a really nice smooth cut.
Oh, that's sweet,
So, if you change this blade out, or any blade out, as you can see, this is pretty rough, it's been used on so many shows, it's not sharp. This is a 60 tooth. You start changing it out to an 84 tooth blade and start cutting MDF corners or solid up stuff like that, you get a lovely finish. It's really nice finish. So that's that.
And what's the battery like? Usage like on that?
If you're running 9 amps on it, because you can buy this particular one in 6 or 9s. If you buy this with 9 amps on it, I think 3 to 2. I think you get about 670 cuts out of it. So it's an awful lot of cutting out of the battery.
Right.
And you've got 2 batteries, so you put the other one in, the other one will be on charge, and the other one will be charged before you run it out again. So that's that. So that's got WTC on it. Everything done, dusted. You've got the option to connect it to a stand or use it on its own. It's got these separate screw holes there that if you want to just drop it on a piece of plywood out on a couple of trestles outside the front of the property, the only trouble with putting a £1,000 saw in the front property and you're working inside it, something's going to run off it. What you do is you screw it down with 4-inch screws through the scaffold boards, so when they try to lift it up, everything's coming with it. So they've thought about everything. These little holes here, plumb saw rails, they come with clamps that go in there.
Yes, I've seen that one,
go in there to clamp it. We've got one inside.
I've seen that one,
Well, I've done loads of hard questions today. You've only got the option of easy ones. Right?
No, I think.
All right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, because I'm looking.
And you want to see the table?
Yeah, table saw and mustard all.
So table saw, you've got an option of either 240 or battery. Right? And again, with these saws, you've got a choice of battery or 240. If you are ever going to come across the thing that you might end up coming across 110 volt, and just buy battery. Don't even bother buying anything else. If not, and you want to save some money, they're not cheaper machines, buy 240, they're way cheaper. So this, with 2 batteries and a charger in a box, is about 807 quid. You buy it in battery, it's probably like 380 or something like that. It's 380. So we've got 2 machines. So basically we've got 3 variants of it. We've got 240, 110 or battery in this size with what's called a 210mm blade. If you want a 250, which is a much bigger saw, the difference between this and the 250 is the other one will cut 3 inch. This will only cut 68mm, the other one will cut 78mm. Right? So if you want to cut 3-inch material, then you have to buy the more expensive saw, which is about 900 quid. If you go, I'm only interested in cutting 2.5 inch and stuff like that, 68mm this will do. Right? So what they've done is there was a law that came out a few years ago that when the blade is on maximum height, yeah, it had to have a certain distance here and a certain distance from the last tooth at the back of support. The bigger the blade, the bigger it has to come out. So all of a sudden it's not so small and compact and portable. So they've got a portable size or they've got a big size. Right? I, as a chippy, I don't work with DeWalt, by the way, I'm a chippy. Right? So Monday to Friday, I'm out there hustling, earning this stuff. I've worked with DeWalt for 25 years on new products, and they give me something like this and they work on it to try and get it as chippies should use it. So that's why they asked me to come, because I know I'm inside and out. I use them every single day. So for me, I use these. Right? I had a 240 volt one. I sold it through lack of use because I've got 2 of these in cordless. And the boys that work with me always go to cordless. So just pick, drop, switch on, bolt. It's very, very portable. I'll show that in a minute. But you've got basically what's called a thing that sets them apart nowadays, and other people are starting to copy it. What's called the rack and pinion fence. The rack and pinion fence means that when you lock it down, there's no movement. Front to back, so it's not moving. Okay, so we can get in as small as we want or as far out as we want. So we can go out to here. Now the scale, there's 2 scales. Okay. The scale there says we're 520 mil, but actually we can go to 620 because these are 100 mil apart. We can go up to that. So it gives you 620 mil, and that's great. If you start cutting some material and it can drop. So what you do is you bring this over, put it in the very bottom ones. Sorry, this is bent. Somebody dropped it, but that then is the same level, so it stops it. Okay. Then you've got another option to bring it up. Okay. I can then bring it into here, which means I can get that in very close to the blade because that's the same height as the saw. Okay? So I can cut small stuff in there. Okay? I can drop the blade quite the way down. That's as quick as it is to rise and fall the blade. Okay? You want to get in there. The other thing you notice, you've got a push stick here, safety. So when you're using it, pushing your stuff through, okay? We come to the last little bit and we push it through. If that push stick is not back in there, it's your fault because you haven't put it back. All right? You want it there all the time because otherwise you'll be panicking, going, where is it? So they put it right there for you to pull out, use, push back in. All right? Safety. So we can lock this back over so we can use the fence. Now when that fence is calibrated here, this is slightly out, for example, so that's there. So I can calibrate that to 0. That's almost on the 0. Okay? So we can calibrate it, etc. If you decide to put a thicker blade on it, it might just throw that scale out by. Alright, so you have to recalibrate it. Storage is absolutely easy because take this off, flip it over, store it underneath, push it, you lock it, drop everything down. You lock everything down, hand it on the side, and there is your carry. So I can comfortably carry a small miter saw on one hand, I can carry this on the other hand. Right? So you've got your standard airlock on the outside, 27mm standard taper on the inside. We can take it out and go bigger if we want to. Okay? No real need to. You notice all this is metal underneath here, so this is all shaped. So when you've got the dust from the teeth, cutting it, it throws it down a slide, straight out the back. So it's always already carrying speed to get out before it sucks out the dust. We can undo this, take it all out. The tools are on the back to change the blade. And I want to set it up again, just literally wind it up as quick as that. I want to set a bevel as quick as that. I want to get the fence on. This is quick as that.
I realise you could bend it.
This one here, somebody got here. This one here comes with 2 riving knives. You've got this one here. So this riving knife here, the idea of a riving knife is once you cut it, it stops the timber, it comes back and pinching on it, right? You don't want it to grab because it'll throw it towards you. This riving knife here is 3mm below the crown of the blade, which means we can do blind cuts. If I want to do a groove in something like down here, a nice small groove, put a groove in it and it'll run over and past that. Okay? If that was higher, it would run and stop. Right? So it's for blind cuts. As and when the health and safety man turns up on site, right, and we have no guards on it, my risk assessment method statement is turn around and say that I'm allowed to tape off an area, nobody else can come in it. It's called a saw safe area. So I'm allowed to use it without that. If you get a health and safety man and says, no, I'm not interested, but then go underneath there, there's a little knob, we'll pull it out. We'll pull that out, and we can send him on his merry way, knowing we've got that in there. Sometimes that's a pain in the backside because you can't actually see the blades, and we actually use it the other way for that reason. And as long as you've got, risk assessment. So just tell them what you want. So that's the one that stays in there 99% of the time. Right? Also in the back here, you've also got a fence. Which is a little bit wibbly wobbly, This is cast, this is extruded. You need a bit of tolerance and it's a little bit wibbly wobbly. Right? So it gets you out of jail, but it's not by any means an absolutely bang on perfect, accurate thing. All right? You've got 2 grooves on the bed here, so if you want to, you can make your own skid. Okay, so you make it, it's like a skid with 2 skids in it and everything. You then put the blade down, you bring it all up, it's got 0 tolerance, so you can make a skid to make your cuts in there, it's like a fence. All right, so you can do whatever. And that's a real advantage, even on this small table saw, having 2 grooves in the top there, you can make a skid, whereas the old ones only have 1 in it.
Yeah. And with the blade, you can put a dado stack in there.
No.
You can't.
No, because the arbor on it is so small. Yeah, that the dado, you can't get a dado stack on it. There's not enough thread on it. Plus the fact you'd have to make a whole new throat plate because the dado stack would be too big.
You need to see that out.
There's nothing to turn around and say. There's nothing to turn around and say you couldn't. There's no law against it. But the predominant law in Europe is all about having an electric brake on it. So when you turn it on, that blade has to slow down. So if they've got to put a more aggressive electric brake on it for a dado stack, they don't know what weight they're putting on it, so they just go, no, we're not. And I'm almost sure you'll find that the thread on that arbor on the motor will not allow you to get a dado stack on it.
Okay. Right? And that's with any of your table saws? All right.
Because it's all to do with the electric brakes on the motors. All right.
Cool. Got it.
Is that easy for you?
That was really good.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Have I passed the test for my knowledge?
Yeah.
But surely you want to come to somewhere and you want to speak to someone.
Yeah, you've been amazing.
I mean, what would you suggest? I mean, most of the work is going to be at a unit, so it's going to be based at a unit, but there's an option of the portable option is great if I need to go to customers' houses and stuff like that. But I will be doing like kitchen units and stuff like that.
So if you're going to do stuff like that, then you need to get a big saw. You're going to be spending maybe £2,000 on a big saw, saw to do stuff for you on that level. If it's not now, buy a portable. And
I'm saying for now.
Work up to that. That's what you'll find, because this will have its limitations on doing all the big sizes and stuff like that. And then some of the big boys go and spend £20,000 on massive saws. But something out of Axminster Tools, a big sort of. You build a bench around it, so when you slide, it's got an outfeed table. These are mainly portable saws. You do what you want, and I do stacks on these saws. In fact, my saws, if you saw my saws on my van, this is all polished. We've got so much going through it, and that's all polished there, where the timber's going through it. So it's a any table saw is fantastic. So many people work around me. What are you looking for? So many people work around me without table saws, and I don't understand how. And they work with me, and they suddenly go, "Holy moly, we need a table saw."
No, without a table saw. Love
like what you've got now.
Yeah, I'm just in the midst of speaking to these lovely couple here. I do apologise. When you're free, can I get you to chat with the gentleman? Is that all right? What, again?
No, that's fine.
It's all good.
Thank you. Do you want to know the difference between the two?
Routers, routers as well. Routers as well.
What is the main difference?
I know you got the half-inch and the quarter-inch.
Smaller, 900 watts. The big half-inch on the left-hand side is a half-inch. So it's used for different cutters. So certain cutters have what they call a quarter-inch shank, which is steel that goes into the body. Certain cutters, when they put a bigger head on it, you need a bigger half-inch. The small one might be small one's 900 watts, the biggest one is like 1750 watts. So if you're starting to route dados and stuff, you need a bigger half-inch. But then you can go with either a cordless router if you're in a unit, a corded router if you're in the unit, probably 400 quid. Something like that is like 700 quid. So you can save a couple of £100 here, a couple of £100 there.
By doing the corded,
By doing corded. So cordless isn't the be-all and end-all in life. But for me, when we're out and about bits and bobs, cordless means everything. Because I do certain jobs where I might come up against 110 volt, then I'm into having 110 volt tools. I can't use 240. Needed pat testing in all my electric tools. Battery gets rid of all that. So all I need is one thing pat tested, which is one charger, and that is it. When they charge you £2.50 an item, right, to charge. Then if you turn up somewhere and you've got 110 volt, you need to have your own generator, 500 or 600 quid. Then you need to have the insurances for the fuel, you need a drip tray, you need the fuel, you need the running cost, which could be 5 or 6 quid a day. It could cost you 150 a month to run your generator. So you put 150 a month into cordless tools, and for me, cordless is a no-brainer. But it's not the be-all and end-all for workshop. Right? So don't get
that's what I'm thinking.
I think because you're just starting off more or less.
I don't know which one to 100% go for. But
I need to spend hours with you.
many more things on the list, so yeah.
Yeah.
In respect to this gentleman here, you have a look, have a look around, and if you've got any more questions, just let us know.
I will do. Nice
Alright,
one. Thanks for your help, man. you guys enjoyed that. I sure did. Next video, we're looking at what I exactly bought from the tool show and compare prices really. So yeah, see you on the next episode, and if you ain't already, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I sure did. Next video, we were looking at what I exactly bought from the tool show and compare prices, really. So yeah, see you on the next episode, and if you ain't already, subscribe.